Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I heard you wanted to learn about infographics. My name's Tim Sachang, and I'm going to teach you how to do an infographic. So first, let's talk about what makes a good infographic conceptually. So what do you think makes a good infographic and all the elements that go into it? Well, this is just a diagram that I found online that I think gets the full picture of what makes infographics. So as you can see here on the outside, we have data, story, shareability, and design. These are the main areas that aspects and elements we're trying to pull into together to make a good infographic. So when you have data, this is the stuff that we do, like the analysis, collecting information and stuff like that. And then we run the analysis, we get some kind of result, and then it tells some kind of story, supports the story that we're trying to do. An example of a story would be developing a college-going culture, right? We want to promote this. This is the goal we're trying to do. The data is to support that goal. And then we also have this element of shareability, and how many people will see this information that we're giving them. How easy is it to be accessed? Working here in Serial, that's where that aspect comes in. And then the last part is design. This is where we come in. This is the part where we are developing the infographic. And that's how easy is it to read, how nice does it look, how visually appealing is it, and you want all these elements to blend together very well, integrate with one another, and I think that's what makes a good infographic. So for example, when we run our data, and we usually have some kind of hypothesis or some kind of overarching goal that we want to reach, and I think these two are already accomplished by that. We have good data we're working with, we have a good story we're trying to get across. You can see, and I'm just going to do this for an example, you can see that if you have design, shareability, and story, but you don't have data, you have this little purple area right here, which we all know, if you don't have really good data, if you're not doing good research, and you're sharing information, you're sharing your story, you could have a great cause, you could have a great creative design, and you're sharing it with the right people, but if you don't have the right data, it could be damaging, right? So you want to make sure that you contain all these elements and don't be lacking in one another. Alright, so now let's look at some stuff that Serial has been working with. The website that we use to create our infographics is called pictochart.com. So first, you want to go to pictochart.com, and then you're going to want to log in. So this is going to be the login information. You're going to have to pull that you can ask me about that later if you want to get the password. So first you have to log in. Now the first thing that comes up is all the projects that Serial has ever done or ever started and perhaps didn't finish. I know that some of the stuff I have on here is just a flyer or a small project or even just a place to paste some of the cool designs that I thought we can use later. We're going to start with just the infographics. These are so with Pictochart, it seems that you can also use the infographic. You can use it to create presentations. You can also use it to create handouts if you wanted to make a flyer or something like that. So let's start with clicking the infographic. The way you operate each of these will be pretty much the same. The result of them will be different is all. So these are the templates they offer for each of the infographics. The infographics, they're more so for electronic copies if you wanted to create one and send it via email to somebody or something like that. They normally don't do best as a handout, and they wouldn't do too well as even a poster. For that, you might want to use something like a printable or even a presentation. I find that the infographic ones are made more for electronic copies. That would be the best way to use them. So if you see here, these are the templates that they give you. And if you wanted to start from scratch and create one from a blank sheet, you can do that by clicking this. But these are the templates they give you. They're very good for I like to use them to gain ideas or maybe just a starting point, and then edit it a lot. For example, for one of the projects we used, we took this template right here, and we just deleted all the stuff that was on there and we started putting in our own information. But the cool thing about using templates is that you can change the overall theme, and we can talk about that a little bit later about how we change the entire theme of them. Like I said, I like to use these ones to gain ideas. For example, we preview this one. See this? You might imagine this is strongly disagree or disagree, neutral, or agree and strongly agree, right? So as you can see, this guy is very, very happy. So that's just to gain an idea of, because we often use the 5-point Likert scales, and this would be a good way to portray that if you really wanted to. We also have things like the pie charts. Something I noticed that works well with infographics is if you want to make a pie chart, you can put the title or the label or image of whatever pie chart you want to use right in the middle of it, and then have the statistics surround that, and it saves a lot of space and it conveys much more information. Let's look at some of the projects that we've done. So here we have the Minority Male Initiative infographic. This one was created by Eze and I most recently, actually. Just have a quick glance at the infographic overall, what it looks like. As you can see here, we have a quick title and a quick brief description of what the Minority Male Initiative is. In the title here, you can see normally when you do slides or PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that, you normally have a slide devoted to just the title. And here we technically do. We have a block. This technically is a block where it would be almost equivalent to a slide, but we made it very narrow because we don't want it to draw so much attention to the title. We want it to have a title, but we don't want the title to take up too much room, right? So as you can see here, we jump right into the demographics. So this, as you can see, we have ethnicity here, and we have age, and how many students wanted to pursue a degree in higher education, and these are the percentages of associates. These are percentages of a bachelor's or PhD and such. As you can see, most people want to get a bachelor's. As the number sticks out quite a bit here. It's very easy to catch this one. And we have some key male statistics here. That 55% receive financial aid, 42% identify as a first-generation college student, stuff like that. These are important to note, but they're not the primary focus. So here we have the primary focus, as you can see, as we put this, we surrounded this with just a little bit of negative space. And that's just to show that there is some importance here. It's not too cluttered, but because it's surrounded by negative space, it shows that this is a little bit more important. So these are the participating community colleges that all were a part of this project, that gave data for this project. And it's very easy to see. Another thing I want to point out that you can create the chart itself. You can create any kind of chart from the data using PictoChart itself. But sometimes when you create the chart, it's so fixed that there's not a lot of flexibility with it. So a lot of times what you have to do is create a very basic chart, sometimes with minimal information, and then fill in all the labels yourself. For example, if you look at this, first I want to ungroup that. If you look at this, this circle here is something I added in. This doesn't come with the chart itself, right? So you have to decorate these things, and then if all these labels here, I had to put them in there, and that's just because if the chart, the vision that I had for it, the chart didn't have that for itself. So I had to make a lot of these. I just wanted to point that out, that a lot of times you're going to have to just use the chart as a tool. Don't use it as a means to an end. Another thing here too, if something is related to one another, it'll be best to talk about them, or put them in proximity with one another. For example, this is GPA, and you can see here that this is students in clubs and organizations related to GPA, and this is people in developmental English courses and GPA, right? So this is all this bottom part of this page. This is the end of the page, this dotted line. You can see the bottom portion of this page is about GPA. And also we have icons here. These icons, I tried to use this icon here to represent people in a club. As you see, when you're in a club, you're with a bunch of other people, so that's the idea I had going on. And when we talk about developmental English courses, I put this book in here to give an idea, oh, this is about reading and English. How to get those icons, you're going to want to use this tab on the side. So as you see here, you can see here shapes and icons. See here there's a bunch of icons you can just click, right? Let's say you put the little heart here, and now we have a heart. Now this just totally changes the idea of the pie chart. But yeah, that's how you get the icons. Now if you wanted to get an icon that isn't here immediately, you can type in something. For example, let's type in man, right? And you can see all the ones that have the keyword associated with man would pop up. And you have all kinds here. We have this guy, he's really strange looking guy. But if you hover over it, you can see here, you can see at the very bottom of the image where it shows all the keywords that would be associated with it. And if you need help trying to find a good keyword, you can type one in and then look up some other icons and look at the keywords under them to give you an idea of more search words. So that's how we find a lot of the icons available by PictoChart. And of course, if you didn't like the icons that are offered here, you can also upload You can upload your own photo if you wanted to. You can upload your own icon. Let's see, if you go to uploads, so these are the ones that have been previously uploaded by people in Serial, and you can use them as if they're just an icon too. See, for example, this is a logo of a handshake. If I were to put that there you go, it looks just like a logo. You'd have to search this up on Google and upload them yourself. So going on with this infographic, as you can see, these are, another thing I wanted to mention too is that all the stuff you've seen so far, these are demographic information, but sometimes when you run an analysis, or you run a t-test, or you run a maybe a correlation or something like that, or a regression, that might be a little bit harder to depict using infographics. So sometimes you might come down to just writing it in. And if you have to write it in, try to use some kind of icon with it, but if not, then if you come up with some creative way to portray your analysis, of course, then if it portrays it well, then it'll be better. And here we want to, you can see how challenges and motivations are parallel with one another, and that's primarily because we wanted to compare them. We wanted to compare challenges, all the challenges that students have faced, reported, and all the motivations that they also reported, and we put them parallel to one another because we want to show that they contrast one another. And of course, this man figure in the middle is completely decorative. And then whenever you finish at the bottom, try to put in the serial contact info.
Okay, now that I've given you a brief introduction on how to use an infographic, I know that this wasn't a very thorough professional development because there isn't enough time to go through every single detail. But if you wanted to learn more about how to use Piktochart specifically, I just wanted to show you some resources here. If you go to the opening page before you log in on Piktochart.com, if you go click here, support, and then you go to video tutorials, this one will tell you how to use all of the features available on Piktochart in great detail. So of course, I couldn't go through all of these in one video because it would take a lot of time. But as you play with Piktochart and you create more infographics, I hope that you can look at these videos and utilize all of the features that they have. After becoming more familiar with navigating Piktochart, something that I like to do is to develop a vision for what this infographic that I'm going to create will look like. And you can pull inspiration for vision from all sorts of places. You can look at posters, you can Google infographics to get ideas, but Piktochart offers this little tab right here. If you click the very bottom left corner, there's a tab that says Inspire Me. If you click that, it will show you all of the past projects that people have made. And I think that it's a really good place to pull ideas and develop a vision for your infographic, because it not only can you see the capabilities of Piktochart itself, but you can see what types of infographics may work for what you're trying to portray and what might not.
Now that you got the basics down of infographic, you can start creating your own. Remember to take your time on these infographics. Play with them a little bit. Get a lot of feedback from your peers, and then your boss, specifically Yvonne and Dr. Person. So get creative with your data. I'll catch you next time.